Welcome to Tribe Talks, which is a 15-minute-ish interview chat yarn with some of just the greatest retailers I know. Look, retailers from diverse backgrounds, and I get to just hang out with some phenomenal people on this. And today we have the beautiful Fiona from Chocolate on Purpose. Fiona, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, so you're Dormarang. That's good day in the Wiradjuri language of my old people. And I'm zooming in from Gundungurra land, which is in the Southern Highlands. So paying my respects to this country, to Gadigal, where Kelly is today, and to all the lands that you're watching from today. I am a chocolatier, and I started my business Chocolate on Purpose 12 years ago.
Amazing. And I've been with you on, like, I've followed your journey for a while, and we've worked together over the past few years, and it's a phenomenal journey that you're on. And I just take my hat off to you. Can you share your journey of starting Chocolate on Purpose?
I think that, when we're our best selves, we're the sum of all our parts. And I really feel that now because, I'm in my happy place inside my business. And so when I look at those different parts, like there's cultural fragmentation, there's a mother who battled a serious mental illness who took me away from my Wiradjuri family. And then my own battle with generational trauma, and then being involved in an armed holdup and suffering from, I don't like to say suffering, so, experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder, which was complex because it was complicated by a panic disorder. And so I recognize now that as a child, I was always very sensitive to injustice. Like I'd be the one who'd stick up for the kid that was being bullied, and then I'd be the end, the one at the end who was hung out to dry because, like I stood up. And I think that's also part of where I've ended up today with my business, like this sense of social justice and equity. And so with my journey with post-traumatic stress disorder and this anxiety disorder, one morning I woke up in the middle of a panic attack. It was like 2 a.m. and I had just discovered products with essential oils in them. And so I staggered into the bathroom, and on the sink was this bottle of facial compress that had lavender in it, which is a very poor relation to lavender, which apparently has no therapeutic value. So I splashed on my face, felt a little bit better, got in the shower, started to be able to breathe again and feel more grounded. And then I sat in the bath with it, and I was able to get out that morning and get myself and the kids ready for the day. And I never had another panic attack. So I was really curious, like, what's this power of a plant, especially one that's not supposed to have any therapeutic value? So I studied aromatic medicine. Life continued. I met my good friend Jo, who helps me in the business because she really believes in the vision and the mission. And we wanted to find a way to share the power of plants with people that wasn't really reliant on financial affluence. Like when people get sick, they stop their I don't mean sick. When money gets tight, they stop their massage treatment and their naturopathic treatment. So we were looking for a way to do that. And like just a chocolate making course that I bought Jo for her birthday was where this idea first came in. The teacher said, we'll make a raspberry and black pepper chocolate. And I said, oh, Jo, black pepper, that's an essential oil. And we started brainstorming superfoods. And I think that's when I started to really start to tune in to my ancestors and the messages that they and the universe deliver. And I call them clangers. They're ideas that just fall into my head. And I said, no, we'll use bush food because that's what my ancestors have used for, over 60,000 years. And so that was the day that the business was born. And without even realizing it, I was creating a social enterprise because the first choice was to use a sustainably and ethically sourced chocolate, then palm oil free because of the climate effect that palm oil farming has, then discovered about the First Nations farmers, how we have less than 1% representation in the botanical supply chain. Yet, that industry was founded on our cultural and intellectual property. And so, started to build an Indigenous-led supply chain. Then women are even fewer represented, yet traditionally we're the holders of the plant knowledge systems. And so, this big desire to want to employ older Indigenous women. And so that's where I've ended up today, combining gourmet chocolate with Australian native botanicals, and building equity in supply chain. So working on those complex supply chain issues.
I love that. And what I really love is, you know, I'm getting to a certain age where you start to connect the dots to things that happened, and it doesn't become apparent until you kind of sit with it for a little while, and
Yeah.
you know, you really tune into it, and you realize that those traumas led you to that place.
Yes.
Your heritage, your cultural heritage led you to using bush food, the stage that you're in now. And it's just a beautiful, I don't know, it's a beautiful coming together of an amazing story and journey.
Thank you.
What are some of the challenges you've faced as an Indigenous entrepreneur in the e-commerce space?
I think that walking in two worlds, you know, you may have heard that term before, where, you know, like we're ancient spirit, but we have to be modern beings. And, you know, with Wiradjuri cosmology, the fundamental value principle for us is Yinjamara, which means many things. Like, you know, First Nations language, each word has such depth. And so Yinjamara means like respect, gentleness, go slowly to do proper way. And so in the business landscape where everything's moving fast, and in particular in the e-commerce space where it's moving even faster, I can sort of get a bit bashed around within that. So when I'm in a group of Indigenous entrepreneurs, it feels comfortable because we, you know, we all sort of, even though we might be different First Nations, we have the same underlying philosophy, and there's this understanding of why you do business the way you do, and the fact that business is more than just the commerce side, which is so important. I know that, but you know, like it's about the storytelling and the connection to culture, and the nobody walks alone, wanting to take everybody community on the journey with you. So that's probably the pace of it. And sometimes when I do know everybody doesn't think my way, but when something is expressed that is totally foreign to the way that I'm thinking, it's like I have to sit back and really think about it.
And the word is Yinjara.
Injamara.
Injamara. Injamara. I love that. Injamara. And especially, you know, you lay AI into that and you've got a whole nother, you know, speed to market thing going on, which adds in complex layers. So I love that feeling of Injamara, that, you know, taking things slowly. And over your time, what are some of the things that have really worked for you? So obviously being connected to culture and funneling those experiences and having that deep connection to language helps you stay grounded. What helps when it comes to marketing? What are some of the strategies you've used that you found most effective in promoting your products?
I think one of them was very surprising, because whilst I chose to bring language in, because it's when I hear the language that I really feel connected. Because, you know, the Wiradjuri language and First Nations language, they're more than just the meaning of words. They describe the location, the relationship to, the journey with. And so that creates a real feeling of groundedness for me that I really light up when I can bring it to my business. But I never thought it would go beyond that. But just recently I've discovered that my real wish to be able to embed immersive cultural experiences into my business beyond the chocolate making is starting to come to fruition. Like I was asked by the University of New South Wales if I could offer a workshop to their business school for their Wellbeing Week. And I thought, oh, what can I do? And I'd been playing for over 3 years with this idea of a guided visualization across country through the chocolate tasting. And I'd already written it for an assessment. And I thought, look, I'll see whether they're interested. And so they were really keen. I went along and I delivered it. And the feedback even blew me away. Just, this is a wonderful beginning to the day. I feel so grounded. I feel so connected. I feel humbled that you shared. And I thought, wow, I can do it, you know? And so I found that that's a really good marketing piece as well, is just, I think that in this country, we all need healing. I'm not I'm not belittling anybody's experience or putting a scale of 1 to 10 on what the experience is. But I think that the nature of the foundation of this country means that everybody at some level spiritually, we need a healing. And so I felt that I was offering that through my tasting. So there's that side of it. I'm really excited about that, because now I've been able to add another product to my product range.
Yeah.
But also in terms of like e-commerce, email marketing. And I can thank you for that, Kelly. You know, like I can still hear your voice. You can lose your social media follows in the blink of an eye. So you have to nurture that email. Everybody who offers their email to you, nurture that. And so, you know, I'm not like a glaring success with that, but I sort of aim to get my monthly subscription back every time I send an email. And so far I'm tracking ahead. You know, like I do get some sales, and so there's sales I wouldn't have had. And so once upon a time it was social media. I could correlate my post to my ordering, up the shopping cart would start. Doesn't happen anymore. Everything is so different. But with email marketing, I will usually at least hear a few ka-chings. That's the sound my app, Shopify app, makes when I get a
love
sale.
the Shopify app. I love it.
So as soon as I know the email's going out, I'm listening for the ka-chings. And if I get enough ka-chings to cover my subscription fee, I'm happy.
I love that. I love that so much. And the other thing, I think, you know, you come at it from not how can we add another product to the mix and make more money. It's how can we connect people to country, to culture, to learning, to integrate that into what we do and offer something that embodies that. Whereas most e-commerce people go, how can we add another product to make more money? And I think that's just a beautiful journey. What are some of, if you could start again, what would you do differently?
I think that this started as a side hustle to full-time work because of like a divorce with little super and things like that. So I was really connected. I was really, I felt I had to have full-time wage. I had to cover the mortgage, and superannuation is a huge issue for me, you know, especially as you get on in age. And so I think that while I was that time working, I wish I had borrowed then to put money into the business. Like I've bootstrapped it from the beginning. And so like in hindsight, you know, just straight away invest in packaging. But I think that the way that I started through a hobby, through markets, everything evolved. And then the dramatic hitting of bushfires straight into COVID, you know, that sort of meant that I started reacting rather than planning. And so like in hindsight, I wish that period had have been a bit different in terms of the way I sort of launched myself and where I'm at with that sort of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. But some amazing lessons along the way, right?
Yeah.
And there's things that you've learned from that you be doing now if you hadn't gone through that process.
Yeah.
What are your future goals for Chocolate on Purpose?
Well, my biggest struggle was finding a way to expand. You know, like the business was home-based. I lived in the house the size of a postage stamp, really grateful. But in the beginning, the business lived with me. And then, you know, as things grew, I started to live with the business, which isn't good for clarity and, you know, your mental health. But then the economy definitely affected me, you know, being an older single female. Mortgage rates going up, cost of living. I lived in a cold climate, like it's snowing out in the Central West at the moment, and lived in a fibro home that's, you know, you have to put a lot of heat and cooling in at the heat of summer and winter. And I was getting like two $1,000 bills a year. And so my good friend Jo, she lived in the next town, and she was in much the same circumstances, and we both started to fall behind in the bills. And, you know, you've only got 3 months to repay those power bills. It's not enough time before the next one rolls in. So we decided that we weren't setting ourselves up for much of a future. So we're leveraging each other, and we've done collaborative living. So that's why I'm talking to you from Gunnedah land. I've relocated into the bottom of the Southern Highlands and found a place after a long search that not only has 2 separate areas for us, but has an internal garage that I can now make a clean, dedicated chocolate space. And it's even more exciting about that if I shared with you like this jewel that fell into our laps. And so my initial plan is that I've got a bit of product development to do, which I can't talk about because it's top secret at the moment, but I want to create this chocolate making space with a tasting room and an Australian native sensory garden. And then my next goal after that, and begin employing Indigenous older women, because we're the holders of the plant knowledge.
Yeah.
Research says that when we take part in the activities of our ancestors, it triggers a healing response, which what my business is for me. And I want to offer that to women and older women because of what I shared to you about, like improved retirement outcomes and how easy it is to just slip down into homelessness.
Yeah.
And so, the chocolate space with the immersive experience and the employment of the older Indigenous women. And then the next step would be to get commercialization in my production line so I can ramp up capacity and grow my employment impact.
That's amazing. I love that. Can you describe I'm going off track here, but can you describe your best-selling product? Because I want everyone to go to your website and buy it.
So our flagship range is a 100-gram bag of chocolate. And so they're chocolate squares, about 6 grams each. And we infuse the chocolate into, the native botanical into the chocolate. So, we're not just throwing chocolate together with a native plant because we think it'll look good and other people are doing it. As, having studied aromatic medicine, like we've done aromatic profiling, and it's a bit of a Heston Blumenthal process without the nitrogen. Because
I'm going to have to Google that afterwards.
Yeah. So with creating a good taste, it's about how many aromatic compounds the ingredients share. And so we're looking at all of that when we combine. So we're infusing those flavors into the chocolate. Then we've got another bar that we call our Sacred Harvest bar. And it's different because the native botanicals are sprinkled on the chocolate. So you can see them and taste them individually. That's our tribute to the ingredients that we use. And then we have our Walking on Country a vegan chocolate bar, which, really ties into treading lightly on country and being respectful. And it has little footprints on it. It looks like footprints walking on the sand. And they represent my ancestors caring for this country, for thousands of years. And my granddad taking me out to gather quandongs when I was a little girl on Wiradjuri country. And then because Jo is Sicilian, and she likes to tell you that her DNA shows that she's 100% Indigenous Sicilian. I've got a chocolate salami and a chocolate chili salami. It's all chocolate. And that's a tribute to Jo for being such a fantastic friend and ally, just a staunch ally, and walking this journey with me.
Amazing. And I have tasted your chocolate before, and my dad was a cook.
Yes.
He was a cook. He used to love cooking, so he'd cook Nigerian soup and bread rolls. And my brother's just cooked some Nigerian soup, and you feel the love when you taste it. Like you feel that culture, you feel that, there's just something that is just warm and beautiful. It's like, friends who have got big Italian families, whenever their nonna cook for them, it just tastes different. And I know your chocolate, it tastes different. It has that cultural connection. It has that feel to it, that it's come from just a beautiful place of love. And
Thank you.
You also do corporate orders as well, don't you?
Yes. So we do bespoke corporate orders. So at this moment, I do want to develop my website so that I can have a parallel universe of like corporate information. But at the moment, they reach out to me. I talk about their event. I find out what it is that they're wanting to achieve. And then we work out how we can collaborate to make that happen for them. And as an example of that, I'm working with a women's trauma recovery centre that's going to be launching in the Illawarra. And they shared with me what their the multidisciplinary approach is to helping women through trauma. And straight away, I thought of a butterfly and transformation. And transformation is very much part of the Wiradjuri cosmology. Nothing changes, it transforms. And so every day is an opportunity to be your better self, or whatever it is that you're wanting. Every day is an opportunity because we transform. That part of the journey and the learnings bring transformation. And so they're really excited about that. And they're even asked me if I'll go on stage and talk about that story. So I think that's what I can offer corporate Australia that's unique.
Yeah.
And I know that my chocolate is a bit more expensive because I'm supporting the supply chain. However, people say that when they taste my chocolate, they understand and they appreciate it. I just have to make sure more people taste it, because unless they taste it, that's all mute, you know, it doesn't count for anything. So yeah, love my corporate customers.
Yeah, Fiona, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us.
Thank you.
I always have a little bit of a transformation when I talk to you. I always just get this beautiful energy, and I'm really, really grateful and honoured to be part of your journey, to listen to your journey, and to have you on Tribe Talks.
Oh, thank you, Kelly.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to have you here. And Joe, of course, in the background somewhere doing something.
We're both grateful. Thank you.
All right. You have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining Tribe Talks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.